Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Very good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Well, this is the show where we'll highlight all the buzzing stocks. For the time being, the Nifty is not buzzing. The Nifty is as flat as can be. In fact, it's sitting with a mild gain, Mangalam. It's recovered, though, from the low point of the day. As flat as can be, the Sensex hits a half a century, and the mid-cap, as well as the Nifty Bank, a relative underperformance. I'm happy it's green because I'm wearing green today.
Well, it doesn't really matter right now the way it's alternating between green and red. Tell you what, Nigel, the IT stocks, they're supporting one end, and as we speak, HDFC Limited is supporting the Nifty's course, so ensuring that it stays in the green and match with your shirt. But what is not matching with your shirt and matching with my tie is the Hang Seng. That one should come up for you. That was outperforming in early morning, outperforming the Asian peers. And currently, it's down about 0.8% from the high point of the day. So the Hang Seng index should come up for you. That one is trading closer to today's lower point. And Shanghai too has slipped about 0.6%, causing that bit of a lid on the downside as far as our markets are concerned. But let's watch out for the top stories that we're tracking. IT stocks, they're the top Nifty gainers. Rupee is at the weakest level since November 2017. Infosys reports its results tomorrow.
And oil marketing companies continue to be under pressure for the second session in a row as crude remains around the $72 per barrel mark. HPCL tells CNBC TV18 that they haven't received any communication for reducing marketing margins by 1 rupee.
Dr. Reddy is under pressure as details of observations issued to the company's Medak unit become public. Meanwhile, Biocon gains on the news that Biocon and Mylan have announced a deal to introduce biosimilar adalimumab in European Union.
And Dish TV is buzzing in trade. They announced an open offer to acquire up to 50 crore shares or 26% stake at 74 rupees per share after almost 4.9% equity changed hands in pre-open trade.
Nalco gains in trade today as CNBC TV18 learns and confirmed by the company that the company made its last alumina shipment at a multi-year high of $601 per ton.
All right, then, how do you trade the Nifty from here on? Well, we have Ashwini Gujral who joins in. Ashwini, as flat as can be, what's the trade?
See, one, there is a trade on IT. It opened up very, very strongly, and that continues. Possibly, it's going to have a fairly strong trend day, fresh breakout. My sense is the IT index will cross its recent highs of about 13,500. So there is no question about that. Now, on financials, the bond yield is continuously coming off since morning. So my sense is that as we go through the day, the banks will see a strong short covering because enough bad news has been thrown at financials, and they haven't really reacted. So if one end of the market is held up by IT, the moment financials participate even a little bit, you will get into a breakout situation on the Nifty, which is 10,000, 440, 445 on the futures. So I'm more interested right now in buying into the financials because I expect bond yield to come off further ahead of the inflation numbers. So that way, market is more positive than negative. The range was at the lower end, 10,350. That maybe has moved towards 10,400. So now that becomes your clear stop. Right. Having said that, I think individual stocks, HCL Tech is a buy with a stop of 978, target of 1,015. Biocon is a buy with a stop of 620, target of 645. And Canara Bank is a buy with a stop of 275. Target of 292. Just one general thing that all of those mid-cap IT stocks, Tech Mahindra, NIT Tech, Tata Elxsi, Sonata, Hexaware, all these guys could have a very, very strong day today.
All right, Ashwini, that's as far as the IT stocks are concerned. But one question finally on the Nifty Bank, what's the trade there given its weekly options expiry? Seeing a lot of call writing at immediate levels, 25,100, 200, even 300. Do you think there's a case of a breakout and that have some short covering? Or do you think the lid will be intact on the Nifty Bank?
Well, like they say, test of a person is throw adversity at him. I think test of an index is like Bank Nifty, throw inflation at it. If it doesn't care, then chances are it's headed higher. So that seems to be my sense that by the end of the day, Bank Nifty is likely to be higher than lower.
All right, Ashwini, thanks a lot for that, not just for the trade, but also for some life advice. Poignant words coming in from Ashwini on that. We'll take a short break, come back, and we'll speak about, in fact, actually, before we go into a break, just getting some word coming in from the HPCL management. That trade, the stock was under pressure after reports that the government is actually nudging the oil marketing companies to absorb a 1 rupee hike on every litre of petrol or diesel. We spoke with the CMD at HPCL, and he says the government hasn't asked them to absorb this crude price rise as of now. Hear him out, and then we'll take a short break.
So the news report is concerned, at least we don't have any inputs to suggest that that there is a reason for us to absorb some cost on that as of now. One common connotation which the people have is if the prices are going high, the oil companies are making a huge margin. That is not a fact, and that is not a correct thing also, and that as a company also we do not encourage that to make the windfall gains on the rising prices. Right now my largest shareholder is not asking me any price rise.
10 points higher on the Nifty. Tata Motors should come up for you. That one's moved to the high point of the day, and the big index heavyweight HDFC Limited too has moved to the high point of the day. In fact, it's extended its little bit of gain, but Tata Motors, that's the one which is up 1%. But on our radar right now are those flashes which are coming on the screen. Hind Zinc is at the low point of the day. We understand that Shanghai zinc prices, they've fallen 4%. LME zinc prices have fallen to a 4-month low. Hindustan Zinc in focus. Nigel, what does this mean for Hindustan Zinc?
Yeah, this is not good news actually, Mangalam. I'll tell you why. Because the entire zinc rally was because there was a deficit in the market. The total global zinc numbers, the production numbers are around 13 to 14 million tons. And in the last year and a half or so, because of deficit, we did see that in fact zinc prices had moved up. Now, in fact, it's corrected a fair bit from the recent peak. And I'll tell you what, in today's trading session on LME, it's down by nearly around 4%. It's trading at a near 4-month low. And importantly, why is this? Because China's State Reserve Bureau, they are saying that they could release some zinc in the open market. So some of the stockpiles could get released. Remember, there were a couple of production cuts. Glencore cut production. You had a couple of mines that were closed as well. That's like Century as well as Leeson in the last 1 year, one and a half year approximately. Now, this will be a bit of a fear. Restart of some capacities was as is going to plague zinc prices. And if this is true, and if in fact there is release of stockpiles, then it could account for roughly around 200,000 to around 300,000. And that's why in fact the street is taking it negatively. And if you pull up the intraday chart, the street was sensing this in the last 1 hour or so. That's why Hindustan Zinc has moved to the low point of the day. As we speak, we'll have to track this very closely. I remember zinc prices, Mangala, moved from around that $2,200, $2,300 per ton. It moved to around $3,500 per ton because there was a deficit. If the deficit is going out, then obviously prices, they don't get support.
Okay, so higher supply on zinc, lower prices, not doing well for the zinc companies. But let's talk the contra. Lower supply and higher prices. That is aluminum. I remember talking to Nalco just 3 days ago and they said 473. We were saying that, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And now
yeah, that's right, Mangalam. We just spoke to the Nalco person, just a couple of, the CMD, just a few days ago, and he told us that prices moved to around $473 on a per ton basis. We were very surprised at that point of time itself. So if the price had gone, the last shipment that left today or early this morning, if it was at $500, $520 per ton as well, the street was working with a number like that. But what we here at CNBC TV18 understand is that in fact it's moved out at around $601 per ton. I've been tracking this for more than half a decade and I've never ever seen alumina prices at $600 on a per ton basis. In October 2017, at that point of time, the prices had moved to around $525 per ton, but it wasn't sustainable because aluminum prices is not moving higher as well. This time around, the management of Nalco, they came on the channel, they confirmed this. They're saying that in fact, the lack of supply because of shutdown or partial shutdown at Alunorte, that's a Brazilian refinery, that's what's boosting alumina prices, and aluminium prices are getting a boost because of the US sanctions on Russia, that's Rusal. So that's what's really, that's the reason why in fact Nalco, I think in the last 1 month or so, it's moved from around 65 to around 77 rupees. The entire rally has been because aluminium prices both of them had gone through the roof.
You said the last time when it was 525, it wasn't sustainable because aluminium prices weren't sustainable.
Not moving higher.
But now if aluminium prices are moving higher, that makes a case for these prices to sustain at these levels?
Yeah, that's what. And demand is very strong. You know, if at $601 per ton, sustenance at 601, really the street won't work with that number. But can it hold on to $520, $550 per ton? Yeah. That's something that we'll have to look forward to. In fact, we spoke to Mr. Chand, the CMD of NALCO, early this morning. Let's listen in to the commentary he gave us.
Our tender yesterday, which we opened it is $601, and it is confirmed. And within a week, there has been an increase of around 27% in alumina prices, because before that the price was 473, and market has moved very steeply.
Okay, all right. The other stock that's in focus is Dish TV. The stock is holding with some gains today. There was a large trade in early morning trade, and in fact, there's an open offer as well that's been announced. Mangala, make sense of this for us.
Well, the open offer was mandatory because of the large trade that you spoke about, Nigel. You know, so the company has made an open offer, the mandatory open offer of 26% stake at 74 rupees a piece. So the stock which surged did go lower to that 74%, adjusting for the open offer price as well. What triggered this? Well, in the morning, there was a 9.15 crore share block deal, which amounts to about 4.9% equity. We understand it's the promoters who bought it as a deal with the Videocon D2H merger. Post that deal, there was another block deal, which was 50 lakh shares which traded, and this takes the total quantum of shares traded to above 5%. So 4.99% is the limit before which an open offer has to be triggered. So total quantum of the large trade, that one moved to 5.02. So that additional 0.26% took the total trade value higher, and which is what has triggered the open offer. Will people tender in the open offer? Well, the stock was up 90 when the merger was announced. Then it fell to 60. Currently, it's at 74. The company expects cost savings worth 180 crores in FY18, close to around 500 crores in FY19, 760 crores in FY20. So are investors going to tender in this open offer, the ones who bought it at 90? Not too sure about that. They'd like to see whether the company does go ahead and see those sort of cost savings, and does that reflect in the share price or not. But as of now, it's a mandatory open offer. Will be very interesting to see how many of them tender in it.
Okay, all right, Mangalam, thanks so much for that. So we'll have to wait by Mangalam saying what 180 crores is the savings that they're
That's the management which is saying in FY18 and 500 in FY19, and that moves to about 760 in FY20.
We're going to track this very, very closely, and you know, we'll try to touch base with management as well. On that note, we'll slip into a short break, come back, continue our focus on the market stocks that are moving around. Pull up HCL Tech. That stock has had a good run just in the last few minutes. So pull up the intraday chart. TCS as well. That's a larger weight actually. That's moved higher as well. And I think Tata Motors and HDFC, there are a couple of other stocks that hold a good amount of weightage. They have moved higher. Mangalam, I think you want to talk about Infosys?
Not Infosys, actually. I want to talk about the Nifty Bank itself. The Nifty Bank has moved higher. That's courtesy Kotak Mahindra Bank. Kotak Mahindra earlier, remember, opened in the red. Now has recovered a swift 1% from the low point of the day. And the Nifty Bank is all but in the green, just about 10 points away from the green. A lot of call writing at 25,100, 200. Let's see what happens. But as of now, Kotak Mahindra Bank has taken the Nifty Bank higher into the day.
Even if you look at the broader markets, MRF, in fact, has spiked up to the high point of the day. So keep an eye out on MRF. But the other stock that's in focus is Fortis. On a day-to-day basis, Nisha as well as Ekta, they've been on top of this one. This time around, Nisha joining in with more exclusive details. Nisha, there's a counter offer coming, I believe.
That's right, Nigel. In fact, it was in anticipation for a very long time. So IHH, the Malaysian and the global giant in the hospital chain business, has taken the plunge in this particular deal, it seems, because sources with direct knowledge share with us that they have reached out to the board of Fortis Healthcare late last evening and have given a non-binding offer to buy out Fortis Healthcare. Now, we don't know the price as yet, but it has to be much higher than 155 rupees per share if they have to really compete with the binding offer which has been given by TPG as well as Manipal. Also remember, they're pitting it against a very good bid that really came in after the bid was really sweetened by Manipal just 2 days back. So it is going to be a very, very big competition. But one thing to remember is that they are non-binding in nature is what we gather. So it is to be seen how Fortis board reacts to it. They have to really disclose it unless there are legal clauses which can award them from disclosing it at this particular point. So we have to know more details on that. But Fortis shareholders can really cheer on this particular development.
All right, Nisha, thanks a lot for that. From Fortis, IHH, Manipal to the other troika which has been in focus, Dalmia Bharat Binani cement case, as well as Ultratech. Now we understand that the company has written to the RBI to examine the Binani cement case for violation of the IBC process. Ritu Singh joins in with exclusive details. Ritu, take it away.
That's right, Mangalam. Dalmia Bharat, who had successfully bid for Binani cement under the IBC process, is facing threat from a higher bid from its rival Ultratech, which is tied up with Binani Industries to make a settlement offer outside the IBC process. Now, in the letter that Dalmia Bharat's group company has addressed to Reserve Bank of India Governor, State Bank of India Chairman, as well as all of the 9 lenders that form the Committee of Creditors to Binani Cement, Dalmia Bharat has alleged that reaching out for any settlement would be flouting the IBC norms. They've asked RBI to examine this case for any violation of laws. It says the settlement is in blatant violation and COC has no jurisdiction to settle in this case. It alleges that banks are using NCLT to allow settling as a shield because BIL itself is in liquidation. Binani Industries itself had colluded with Ultratech to circumvent the insolvency process. And itself, the Binani Industry company itself is insolvent, has not paid dues of about 1,700 crores to its creditors, and has a winding up petition in NCLT. And it is also by virtue of being the promoter of a defaulting company ineligible to apply for settlement. They also refer to the Hari Bhakti report on the fraud of 2,400 crore rupees that it now alleges the promoters are now trying to hide, and is urging the Reserve Bank of India and the State Bank of India chairman and other lenders to refrain from accepting the settlement offer, else they themselves would be committing a fraud and would be illegal and in violation of laws to accept such an offer.
All right, Ritu, thanks so much for joining in and giving us all those details, and we'll keep an eye out on that case. But by the way, keep an eye out on a few stocks. Tata Sponge, that stock has moved to the high point of the day, so keep an eye out on that one. GMDC as well is spiking up as we speak, so just keep an eye out on a couple of these stocks. And Mangalam, quality, we have to keep an eye out on that stock always. Keep an eye out on the brokers, etc. You know, you have to keep an eye out on quality, because that stock seems to be doing its own thing every now and then. So that's quality as well, move higher. But just keep an eye out on that stock. But Mangalam, more interesting stocks. I know we are moving towards the end of the week. United Breweries, I think that's the one that you should be looking at. And Kajaria Ceramics as well, as you just told me. Both those two stocks, they should be in focus.
But you got a feel for the oil and gas guys, Nigel. You know, while we're talking about all these stocks which are at the high point of the day, pull up the BSE oil and gas index. That one slipped to the low point of the day. The oil marketing company is not doing too much.